Good.
Let's call the regular meeting of the Village Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes, additions, deletions to the proposed agenda for this evening? Being none, roll call.
President Schneider,
Present.
President Pro Tem Dyke, Councilmember Feldman,
Present.
Councilmember Glasser, Councilmember Kuligowski,
Present.
Councilmember Powell,
Present.
Councilmember Steffler. Present.
By way of explanation from variation of our normal protocol with regard to our agenda for this evening, after consultation between village administration and myself, there was recognition of the fact that we have two important, significant issues to discuss, to go into closed session. And because it's anticipated that discussion of these issues may be somewhat lengthy, maybe even very lengthy, the conclusion was reached that closed session should be moved up. And so the only thing that I was looking at that I had some concern about going into closed session kind of mid-council meeting was blocking off public comment time. But we don't exactly have a packed house tonight in terms of audience, so I don't know, may call it public comment time before we go into closed session. Otherwise, that's why we're proceeding as we are. Did council have any questions regarding how we're going to proceed this evening, other than what's laid out on our agenda? Okay, communications, didn't see anything. As to the regular meeting minutes for the August 1st meeting, I think. Yeah. Get the damn thing to work. Sorry. My laptop and I do not get along, but we'll manage. As to the regular meeting minutes of August 1st, everything looks fine. Moving up to number 3, installment purchase contract. Second line, it begins with the 2023 Dodge Durango. It was approved for the purchase. I presume the word after purchase is supposed to be at rather than that?
Correct.
Okay. Number 4 is actually a question on my part. I don't know if there needs to be a change. The resolution 230801, second line, installment purchase contract for 2023 Dodge Durango is in fact a pursuit. So that is correct. So that was just a question on my part. And then public comment time. Okay. Okay. Councilmember Steffler, second line down. She also encouraged the other applicant to look into, I believe that would be applying for the Planning Commission, as opposed to look into, applying. Okay. And that's all I had with regard to the minutes. Anybody else on the minutes of our August 1st meeting? Okay. Moving on to general fund. Major streets, local streets, Parks and Recreation Fund, Downtown Development Authority Fund, Water Fund, Equipment Fund, Payroll register report. DPW monthly report for July.
I do have a comment on the DPW monthly report. I noticed that and in the financial report, there were trees removed, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but thought I would ask anyway. If we have any type of tree replacement policy, so that if we take out a street tree, we would replace it. I don't think we have one of those. And kind of dovetailing to some of my comments earlier about us trying to become a tree city, I do think that it's good practice for us to be budgeting and setting aside money for the replacement of trees that we take down. I mean, that represents like the character of our village is the trees that we have here. And it just start to see us chipping away, literally and figuratively, at our tree cover, and that if we're not planning for the future, we might find ourselves where a lot of communities are, more urban areas where they've lost their trees, and then it takes a long time to build that back up. So I would like to have us pursue something like that, and if it's not in the budget necessarily to replace trees within this fiscal year, that we start building on that in the future with agreement from other council members, of course.
Well, aside from the community perspective, obviously it's an environmental issue.
Oh, I mean, there's a whole host of benefits. It's traffic calming. I mean, there's studies done that even though you're reducing sight lines, it's a good thing because people drive slower when there's a canopy of trees around, reduces crime, heat island effect, increases property values. I mean, there's a whole host of reasons why we want to keep our tree cover, if not increase, at least keep it where it is. I know Brian's not a huge fan of trees because of the roots getting into his sanitary and storm sewer systems, but that's why tree selection is important. Putting the right tree in the right place for the right purpose.
I do know that in one of our ordinances, I believe I can't say for sure, but if a resident wants to plant a type of tree.
Yeah, and there are communities that offer it to people. Like if, advertise to the community, does anyone want a street tree? And you can select from a certain number of species, and it is at the community's cost, but that's a way to have resident buy-in, and then also we're controlling the species and then sort of building that canopy back up. Because that's one of the things that brought me to this town was it's beautiful with the trees, and if we lose that, we lose a lot.
I'd like to say that when the Stroop Drain went through my neighborhood, they eliminated all the tree coverage along the backside of Drakeshire Farms, and now it's a virtual wind tunnel through there. It's terrible now.
Increases your home energy
Toys go
bills.
flying everywhere. It's bad. So, but that was, I understand why they did it, but it would have been nice to have that worked in the project where they could have maybe replaced something for the stuff that they took out, because it was an appealing part of that neighborhood, but it's a clear line of sight, and come wintertime, you can't even sit out on our back porches sometimes. That, I don't know why the wind amplifies through there, but it gets bad. So, but yes, I would definitely agree and support that. Something worth pursuing if we can offer it. And if we have major projects like that, something we need to consider. Say, hey, what are you going to do to make sure this is put back for long-term growth as well?
Maybe we need oxygen.
Right.
It helps.
Right. And it's important too for my planning commission members to keep that in mind too, because that's one of the things that I always see as an exemption. Do we have to plant this many trees?
Yeah.
Do we have to put trees in the parking lots? Terrible to plow around, blah, blah, blah. It's important.
Yeah, it's always addressed in site plans.
Yes.
So, so thank you for emphasizing it. So I presume that if we're checking out their village administration, whatever, their sample programs up there, for tree replacement, I presume? So
Yeah.
necessarily have to start from scratch?
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
for sure. Happy
uh,
to provide information. I think we're gonna, there are DTE partners with DNR, and they do tree planting grants every year for urban forestry. I think they extended the deadline until the 18th, but obviously that's too short for this year, but definitely would want to consider it for future years.
So can village administration put that on your plate, so to speak,
To-do
to take a
list.
look?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
We want a tree.
Why we are on this report as well, I know in last meeting we brought up the Kidder Road, the deer nesting and bedding down. Thank you to the DPW. We took a bike ride through there, and yeah, they did a good job knocking that down. And I haven't seen as many crossing through there. At least you have a little bit more time to react when you see them come out of the corn instead of out of the ditch. So thanks again for their prompt response to that.
Actually, that was the county. came
Oh, the
through.
county did. Okay. Well, somebody deserves a pat on the back because it's taken care of. So it's
Mhm.
amazing coincidence, but
Also on this report, so I noticed that he said that we did get the mower.
Yes.
Will that replace the OEO mowing fees that we had in the?
No.
So that's,
That's separate.
OEO mowing is a private contractor going around to the properties that don't have mowing, their laws that give warnings and then have to be cut. DPW does not do that. DPW just does municipal properties.
and we get reimbursed for that?
Yes, we bill the property owner, and if they don't pay, then it gets put on their taxes, yes.
DPW reports on 2 things. I like to work by category, ordered by category, because they could really give us a sense of what they're doing and that program, a sense of how that program's being beneficial. On the other side, the mileage report's missing this month, the vehicle mileage. The vehicle charges are there, but not the mileage.
I talked about it with Brian. I even said, no. It'll be on the next agenda.
Okay. Okay.
based on the amount of rain we received and our great intern's research that he's done, have we seen any additional improvements since the relining as well? Just curious to know, it'd be nice to get an update on that to see how, because we've had massive volumes of rain, to see if we are really making way now.
Yeah, the rainfall we're seeing over the last day or so hasn't had an impact on the wastewater treatment plant yet, but we'll monitor that and
Okay.
we'll advise you.
Okay, wastewater treatment plant monthly report. I guess this is the police report. Yeah, okay. OEO, Ordinance Enforcement Officers report. Building permits, financial position report. And, oh yes, clerk treasurer's monthly report. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support.
I think Pete got it.
Pete got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the same time, it seemed like. Anyhow, all right, so motion by President Pro Tem Dyke, supported by Councilmember Feldman, to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Objections? Unanimously approved by all council members in attendance. Okay, any public comment time this evening? Being none, I'll move on to the regular agenda, Planning Commission member appointments. So I can address that. We have the applications presented to us. And the Planning Commission at its August 3rd meeting nominated Robert Miller and Nathan Carl to fill the Planning Commission's vacancies, which would bring that commission to a seven-member board for the first time in a long time and filling it completely. And so the Planning Commission has requested, I abstained because I appoint but recommended that I do appoint Mr. Miller and Mr. Carl to the commission for 3-year terms ending March 31st of 2026. Bob Miller has been attending our council meeting minutes for several months now, and Planning Commission meetings, yes, and has exhibited his interest in helping to govern the Village of Almont, and so he's shown that important, significant interest. So based on the nomination, I am going to appoint Robert Miller to the Planning Commission, and President Pro Tem Dyke, supported by Councilmember Kulagowski, to ratify my appointment of Robert Miller to the Planning Commission as indicated on the record. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Objections? And being none, Mr. Miller's appointment to the Planning Commission is unanimously approved by all council members in attendance. As to the Planning Commission also nominated Nathan Carl, who presented himself very well at the Planning Commission meeting, and I think his request to be appointed was well received by all Planning Commission members, and he was nominated by the Planning Commission that I appoint him to the one last vacancy on the Planning Commission board. And so based on that nomination, I do appoint Nathan Carl to the Planning Commission, bringing it to a 7-member board, and that would also be for a 3-year term ending March 31st, 2026, and request council ratification.
I'll make the motion that we ratify President Snyder's appointment of Mr. Nathaniel Carl to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term ending March 31st, 2026.
Support that as well.
Motion made by President Pro Tem Dyke, supported by Councilmember Kulagowski, to ratify my appointment of Nathan Carl. I think it is actually Nathaniel, sorry. What do you? Nate's, oh, okay, Nate's cool. Nate Carl to the Planning Commission. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Objections? Unanimously approved by all council members in attendance.
And I'll just echo what President Snyder said. They both presented and interviewed quite well, and I think both of them are going to bring a lot to the Planning Commission.
Can they be sworn in this evening, Kim? Or
No, they'll be sworn in at the Planning Commission.
meeting. Okay, all right. So that's just a formality, and you are on the honor Planning Commission for future exciting events. And remember, trees.
Yes.
Trees.
Hug them, tell them all.
So maybe if you can bring a little treeling to our next meeting.
Don't let people off the hook on the trees.
Right, yeah, definitely. So thank you,
I did
gentlemen.
have a question. Are we still offering the training through, is it MSU Extension for new Planning Commission members? It was really helpful. I remember when I went through it.
Yeah, I think-
I highly recommend you take that if it's still being offered.
I think that's what you passed out at the Planning Commission meeting, wasn't it?
Yes, and Mr. Dyke has indicated his interest in participating in that, and if your schedules permit, gentlemen, let me know and we'll get you signed up.
Good. Okay, so we've reached the stopping point, so to speak, of our regular agenda for this evening at this moment in time. And what appears to be called for, what it is called for by our proposed agenda for this evening is moving into closed session.
You make the motion that we enter the closed session in accordance with Section 8C and 8E of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976, for strategy and negotiation sessions connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement, and to consult with an attorney regarding settlement strategy in the connection of civil action number 21-12045, Laura Black versus Almont Village.
I support.
I think I got it.
Yeah, you did.
Should get buzzers.
So motion
Green
by,
first.
motion by President Pro Tem Dyke and supported by Councilmember Steffler. This is to be roll call, doesn't it?
Yes.
Roll call.
Dyke? Feldman?
Aye.
Glut? Kuligowski?
Aye.
Powell?
Aye.
Steffler? Aye. Schneider?
Aye. Unanimously approved by all council members in attendance. And so we now have to move into closed session. Doors.